Just outside Philadelphia, the GATSME Line's Model Railroad Club strives to keep alive the memory of central Pennsylvania railroads.
In the mid-20th century, the Great Lakes and Eastern and the Lehigh and Susquehanna Railroads served eastern and northern Pennsylvania. The real lines have passed into history, but their memory lives on in the Keystone State at the GATSME Model Railroad Club, located in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania.
The club already had a public display up. The operations and the layout was kind of retrofitted to what was here. So we kind of ended up modeling central Pennsylvania, kind of from Sunbury up to Erie through the Pennsylvania Renovo division, and added in the Pennsylvania Elmira branch as well.
With multiple lines to pick from, the club had many opportunities for modeling. Each railroad had its strong points, and the club tried to embody those elements into the layout.
GL&E Main's highlights is our Union Station, Pequot Creek, and also the Port Washington waterfront area, which illustrates a lot of industrial operation and trains going down the tracks through buildings, those sorts of things. We also have Cedar Haven, which gave us a chance to model a town scene in a little more detail. And then we come around to Susquehanna Junction, which is our junction between the GL&E double track main line and up to the L&S branch line.
Standard gauge railroading wasn't all the club wanted. There's also a narrow gauge operation serving the timber and lumber industry, and the club wanted to pay homage to the famous East Broad Top.
We're inspired by the East Broad Top as one of the major narrow gauge east of the Mississippi. So it's always a fantastic part to have added to any layout, so we added that in. And it gives a nice contrast in size and scale to operate, and it's always a hit with the public, so it's a nice change of pace for what we're able to do. The nice part of the Sheffield and Tionesta is that we do have a lot of hand-built trestles and bridges that really add to a nice spectacular view and photographs. We try to make sure that everything we do here photographs well. We revamped kind of the upper level of it to add in a prototype line, which is the Susquehanna in New York. Off that line, we were able to do a lot of real deep woods modeling, a lot of timber, a lot of coal, and it was an actual railroad that did run down along the Pennsylvania Renovo.
The lines run through rural Pennsylvania, through industrial areas, green hills, mountains, and towns. So you go from gritty industrial area to the Allegheny Mountains. Every great railroad needs a passenger operation, and this one is no exception.
Well, Union Station is depicted roughly after 30th Street Station in Philadelphia. On our particular layout, it's modeled on the western end of the railroad, which is Erie, Pennsylvania. It's got a flavor of a big city station in that it has a lot of through tracks, and we also do a lot of REA express business operations out of it.
The club's time period is the 1950s, so members can realistically run a variety of steam and diesel. But this can change closer to the holiday season.
In show mode, we permit all sorts of trains from all sorts of eras, so we can demonstrate what may be current trains like Amtrak Acela, to period trains, which our layout has, which is typically mid-50s, to anything that may be turn of the century.
Sometimes it isn't all fun. A railroad is a business, and a model one is no exception. After all, the shipping of freight and safe transportation for passengers can be modeled just like scenery and hand-laid track.
Our operating sessions have a very unique plan to them. We have over 90 trains in our particular schedule, which we divide up into 3 sections, and we operate them all in a sequence. Our railroad basically has at least 3 to 4 simultaneous operations. We have passengers and REA as one. We have a general merchandise system that goes, and we also have a coal railroad.
The visible track is all hand-laid with a wide variety of rail and track arrangements.
Most of our track throughout this whole layout has been hand-laid, and our main line originally was laid with the largest rail, which would be typical of a main line. But as we've gotten more into the details, we're getting more scale and prototype rails. We go down from code 83 to 70, and in some of our back tracks we have code 55, which is really a skinny rail. We've totally converted to DCC here in the last 2 or 3 years, and we no longer have any kind of DC operation.
And what's the future hold for the club?
We're looking to add more in terms of education, and give the layout and the club room a little more of a museum feel, try and explain more to the public what's going on.
Next time you're in Philadelphia, take a side trip to the GATSME Model Railroad and visit a recreation of mid-20th century Pennsylvania railroading.